What's up, Earth Speedsters? This week I have a very special episode of Man-UpRite to introduce to you. So many of you know I was on a show called Entourage for a good decade. It was a little tiny show that was only culturally defining, an iconic show in the early aughts. And I spent a long time with the cast. We got to know each other quite well and became family. Now that we're all fathers, I thought we could talk about what it means to be a man in today's culture and what it means to be a father, how to be better fathers. And we got together with Doug Ellin, the creator of the show. Jerry Ferrard wasn't there at the time, but we're going to do an addendum episode with him specifically, so don't worry. But without further ado, the Man-UpRite Entourage edition.
Okay, guys, welcome to Earth Speed.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you.
So this will actually be a sub-series within the umbrella of Earth Speed, and this is a show about men's work, personal development, basically just calling men to a higher standard. So I'm just trying to figure out what that means, especially because, well, I have a little secret. I, too, am going to be a father.
Oh, hey, congrats, bro.
Wow. I got a lot to learn.
Yeah. You know what? It's natural, bro. You'll figure it right
I
out.
did not see that
You're a
coming.
good person. You're going to raise a good person.
By the way, he held
Did
that
not
from
see
the
that
victory of the
coming. You would have
podcast.
buckled in 2 seconds at the office.
No way I would have held that, but that is
Wow.
I'm really happy for you, and it is truly the best thing in the world. So
Do you know boy or
far
girl?
along?
Or
Yeah, we don't know. We're probably 3.5-4 weeks away from the day.
what?
Oh, wow. So you're
Yeah,
really far along.
it's
Wow.
eminent.
Oh my goodness!
And you don't know boy or girl?
We don't. Mm-mm.
Good. It's like one of the great surprises in life. So there's so few of them nowadays.
Yeah.
But that is like,
Be the only true real.
yeah,
surprise.
I didn't know on either of mine. So
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
I with Lucas, I was 100% sure it was a girl. I just didn't. I just was sure, and then they said you have a boy. And
I was told I was having a boy because the way she was carrying it high in the belly. You know,
Yeah.
that's what they say. But yeah, 2 girls for me.
I called the doctor and said, I need to know right now if this is a boy or a girl.
Jack
She was like,
gonna
are
be
you
the name. I
sure
was
you
gonna
want to
go with the
know?
name Jack.
And Zulay is looking at me, and I was like, okay. Thank you. She's just
Oh, you didn't
staring
tell
at me.
her?
I didn't tell her.
she didn't want to know.
No, not at that point.
The only advantage really is you could
Oh, we
decorate
did a
the
gender
room
reveal.
and you could
We
get
did a little
the
gender
oh,
reveal.
yeah,
We
you
did a balloon pop.
You did the
little balloon pop.
I went with the moms, but the first one I was adamant, and honestly, if I would ever be allowed to choose, I think it was the greatest moment, not knowing and finding out in the hospital and that traditional. Are you doing a natural childbirth or something?
Yeah, of course.
So what do you have, like a doula?
And he also
Yeah,
knows. He knows everything. He's got all the intel. They're just holding back on it.
Well, I trust my wife. She knows everything.
Right.
Yeah.
She's very. I mean, she's the oracle. You know, and that's what I came to realize in my journey to self. I realized, you know, for so long I was, you know, a little bit condescending, I think, to the women in my life, and I felt like I was, you know, I was the guy with the money, I was the guy with the fame, and I didn't really appreciate how much women actually know and how much wisdom they actually carry until I decided to sit down and start to listen. So I guess part of me, I'm just wondering, like we went on this journey, Entourage, and we put out a lot of information into the world. We shaped culture.
Yeah.
Or we
put a lot of
reflected culture,
information.
at least. What would you say? Shaped or reflected, or both?
I think reflected, yeah.
Right. And I think, you know, I just wonder, you know, what's next for men, right? I think there's a lot of confusion. People are struggling to understand what masculinity is. And I think I guess I'm looking to you guys, like, what did you do? What have you done to step into a role of father? And what does it mean to be a father?
Well, for me, I was so young. I was like 19, 20 when I had my first one. So I was like thrown into the fire, you know. And I just had to step up and become a man, you know, and do what I had to do. And, you know, my 2 daughters are 15 years apart. So I didn't really kind of prepare for it, didn't expect it. It just happened, and you embrace it, you know. You guys had more time. You, in particular, had a lot of time to think about it.
But I think you know that's the big difference for me is, it happened so much later in life. That was like a real choice at that point. So I was like
So you,
ready.
you chose. This was it. You
Oh
decide,
yeah. We were like, hey, let's have a, I remember it was New Year's Eve, and I was thinking next New Year's Eve, we're gonna have a baby, and I was right. But that was like, that was when we decided. So like rolling into like, we were trying. It was a strange thing because you spend
kinda
so long
remember that night,
spend
too,
so long
right?
trying
Like,
not.
that was the night.
Trying
So
to
you
not
feel
do
like
it,
you were very much on purpose. Like you were.
No,
you were
we
intentionally. I'm gonna have a child. I'm gonna be a father.
Yeah, but
so
it was
you had a
like,
sense of what
it's
that-
like she's.
He was
I'm
asking if
feeling
I
it
would
right
be a
now.
donor. I was like, that would be weird. I don't want to donate.
No, it was like, hey, today's the good day, Like, the whole, we were trying, actively trying. But we got pretty lucky.
You feel that you were
so.
ready? You feel.
Oh, yeah. Well, as ready as you're ever going to be, right? I mean, I was 46. I hope I would be ready. I would like to think. Anyway, we'll see. But, I was ready.
I've lived both experiences because obviously my first time around was absolutely plotted, planned, and thought about how many kids we wanted and when we wanted them, and we did that. And now I am incredibly, because I've never thought I would be this guy. I'm an older father who had a baby 3 months ago that was not planned, and it was one of those things that was highly unexpected. But when my fiance told me she was pregnant, honestly, there was nothing but this is kind of, it's a miracle. Like, it's kind of a miracle, and we're going to now change everything that I thought my life was going to be in my 50s. And again, like, look, there's so many people out there, which is a mind-boggling thing, and I think the three of us, and I know how you will be, like, people who don't embrace it, people who abandon their children. It's not conceivable to me. Like, I knew when my fiance told me she was pregnant that my life was going to be different, because I know how much raising a child, I know how important it is to me, and I know how there's no other way to do it. I didn't have any other option. It was just like, okay, this is what we're doing, and we're going to do the best we can of it, and it is the most special thing in the world. And now, weirdly, to see myself as my kids now 21 and 19 are now starting to be at that age where, they start to like advise me and talk to me, and I'm now doing the whole cycle again. It's wild, but also amazing. And of course, I do wish I was younger. I think you will instantaneously, like Kevin, wish you were younger, because you want to be there for every.
It's a young man's game, bro.
But I don't even mean because of the tired or any of that stuff. You look, we see, without being depressing, there is a reality to our time here, and I don't want to miss a single thing. I didn't want to miss it the first time. The difference this time, which I'm lucky, and I think you guys are lucky, is the monetary stresses of my first time around and the work pressures that I had then. I still have it somewhat, but my priority is my children 1,000,000% now.
So, do you feel like you're now getting a second chance to correct for some things that you didn't do before? And what are those things?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing, and it's not, correcting, but I was, we were in the thick of it. And, as you guys know, both my kids were on Entourage at some point. But the amount of stress I was under, and the times that I knew, like, I need to be with my kids and enjoy it right now, the times that I wasn't mentally present there, I do try now to correct it with all of them, by the way. And that's not to say I was some absentee father or anything, because I wasn't. But mentally, there were a lot of times I was not there. And Kevin and I have been talking about this lately, but with my new baby, when I'm with her, I try. No matter what's bothering me in anything else, I just go, this is never going to be again, these moments. And also, not that you want like to shape some clone of you. You want to better them. You want them to have a better life than we have. So I think about what I can do that helps them as often as I can. So
It's just also such a different time. This morning, so my daughter's going to be 2. In a couple months, she'll be 2. But she's starting to put words and now sentences together, and you're kind of trying to figure out what she's saying.
A lot of no's with the twos.
This morning, she's like, Alexa, like staring at the machine, not plugged in.
talking to Alexa?
She's trying to get Alexa going to play a song, and I'm thinking, it's crazy that she
That's
knows
wild.
that.
Yeah.
That's
Her
wild.
voice isn't powerful enough to trigger the thing, but she's like, Alexa. And I'm like, looking at her, and then she
That's
last night, she
funny.
goes like this, and she goes, shh, Poppy's sleeping. I'm like, I wonder where she's heard that one.
I'm gonna have to have a kid now, so we can have play days. All our kids, together.
Well, look, officially, all of the entourage now
Yeah,
have children.
yeah. That's
Most of us are married.
I will be soon.
Yeah,
Will
I
be soon.
was.
You're no longer.
No, I'm no longer.
Okay. Okay. I never thought I'd be married.
I didn't know it was coming for you either. Congrats, bro.
I can't believe you got me with the baby thing. You got me.
It's getting emotional.
I did not see
I was
that
getting
coming.
emotional. I
didn't
did not
see it
either.
coming. Yeah, I did not know. Because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't want to press, how hard have you been trying? Because it's not always easy for people. So I didn't want to press you on like, so how active? You're like, yeah, we're thinking about it. I'm like, well, how are you thinking about it? Right. So.
Well, to your point about your daughter starting to now emulate or, mimic what she's
Right.
experiencing, I take that very seriously because my child is going to start to see me and reflect what I do and how I be. So I really have to just embody and be like somebody that I would want my kid to reflect.
Even knowing that information, you're going to be shocked when it's actually happening because it's way more intense. I have found how impressionable, and they are like little sponges, and they pick up crazy things where you're like, did I say that? Who said that?
Where'd you learn that?
So are you actively working to be a better father, or is it something you have to work at?
Well, you just learn as you go, right? So for me,
So
I'm realizing how important what everything that you say is, right? Like Kennedy's my daughter. She like kind of yelled at the dog. I'm like, she's not mad at the dog. She's mimicking me yelling at the dog. She's copying me yelling at the dog. So those are but it's a trip because it's like very serious. It's like, how could she possibly know that? Well, we yell at the dogs a lot, I guess. I don't know. But that's going to catch you.
So what are you doing? Are you?
I try to we're hyper aware of what we say. Now I'm aware of music that's in the car. Where I don't know that Tupac is necessarily great for Kennedy right now. I listen to like 90s rap music. I have the worst music taste and style of all time, but I can't help it. So she's got no business listening to that. But it's crazy now that we were at the Cheesecake Factory. Kennedy's watching a YouTube show, and when it came on, she skipped the ads on the iPhone. She's not 2 yet.
Wow.
And she knows how to skip the YouTube ads.
Wow.
Adrian's like, maybe you shouldn't let her watch so much YouTube. But, it's
The only
crazy.
time you get some peace and quiet, it'll
That's
put her in
right.
front of the
I
YouTube.
always, all the things that I said, I would never do that. You're like, oh, God, if it's going to keep peace at the Cheesecake Factory, maybe we should throw
my
on a
older
little
daughter's
Bluey.
talking about having a kid. She's now married. Amy's married. She's 31, and she wants to have a kid. So I'll be a grandpappy in no time.
Happy? That's
Grandpappy. I can't wait, man.
It is crazy,
That's got to
though,
be the
because
greatest thing.
You do start off with rules, and I'm trying. And my older daughter, like I legitimately do not want my new daughter watching TV till at least 5 years old. I am not telling you that's going to happen. I'm going to do my best, though. And even now, like sometimes I'm holding her and I got a sports event on the background and she's kind of tilting her eyes. And I'm like, you know what? Turn it off. Put on some good music. Read her a book. Do something.
What
So
about
I do.
Sesame Street and all those good learning stuff because it really helps them learn.
I'm not saying I'm right or I'm not. I'm trying. I'm not saying this will work.
Yeah.
Maya, my daughter, is like, there's no shot. You're going to try with no phones and all this. But I am actively thinking about it. And I do think about what song she plays and what I can teach her. And, and also understanding that she's going to be her own person because I now have seen my children, no matter what my hopes and dreams and thoughts were. They're now 21 and 19. They're becoming their own people,
I like to think of what can I watch that they can watch and we could both enjoy. Like
Yeah.
SpongeBob. SpongeBob. Everyone can enjoy SpongeBob.
Well, so we all as adults have to be a stand for what's right and what's wrong as parents, right? So you have to. At what point do you make that decision about how what's right and what isn't?
I mean, there's like a rogue squirrel in here. Does anyone care? I mean, like he's not scared of humans at all.
It's not a killer squirrel. We're in nature, bro. We're in nature.
I've never seen a squirrel
We're in
come that
nature.
close.
We
All
are
right,
in nature. Welcome to Earthspeed.
Adrian wanted
Earth
nature.
speed.
To your question,
because my point is, I feel like I need a running start, right? Because by the time I have a kid, now I'm in the moment. I can't take any time to be a better man, and I just think about all of the micro decisions that we make as individuals that extrapolate out into society, that define a culture, that now becomes the soup that we're all reflecting and learning from. So at what point do we decide to actively choose to go in a different direction and represent or embody a different type of masculine?
I mean, I think the most important thing is to every day think about how can I be better? And we see the world is changing so fast. So even trying to keep up with what's going on and making sure you're really informed on what's happening so that you can teach your kids properly or what you think is proper. And it's a difficult thing, but I think the most important thing is to be actively conscious of what you're putting in front of your kids. And that's why Kevin says, like, I try. I mean, I literally go, do not yell ever in front of this child. Like, it's just such an awful thing to do. And, I grew up in a house with a lot of yelling. And I'm not saying, how it affected me or didn't, but I do not want that for my child. So that's one thing. But also to look at how can you help others? How can you teach your child, which, again, you will find. They find their own path. And you can sit there every single day of your life and go, I want you to do this, this, and that. I want you to think about this, this, and that. They're not going to. They're going to find their own way. But hopefully, and I think especially later in life, they start to hear that those lessons of being empathetic to other people and thinking, what are the right things to do, even though we all do the wrong things sometimes. It's just very important to be conscious of it. So,
yeah, so increasing awareness about what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah.
Even the things that you're not even necessarily aware of.
Absolutely.
So bring awareness to that.
Yep.
That's tough.
Of course. It's always tough. And you find yourself slipping at times and go, I often like to think, like, if I saw this in a movie, would I like this person? Would I think they're doing the right thing? Do I think they're good? And I do. And I think about that. And if I wrote a scene, would this be a character that I wanted to be? And I try my best. And again, I fail all the time, but I try.
So you don't want your kid listening to rap music?
No, that's not true. I just realized, that I knew kids were a sponge and I knew they picked up on things, but the level of intensity in which she picks up on it, when she picks up on it, was I was not prepared for.
And there's a lot of messaging in media,
That's what I'm saying.
in songs,
Whatever it
in
is,
movies, in television shows.
Right.
I've been thinking about this. Like, I've gotten a couple offers for a couple of roles, and I'm like, do I want to be in this movie that my kid's ultimately going to watch? Or forget my kid, what about other kids that are watching that content on the internet? Yeah. What kind of, everything we say, everything we do, if it's not our kids, someone somewhere is listening to us because we're in media, because we have a megaphone. So,
but part of me also really believes your values are not taught through art. Your values are taught at your house by your parents. And whether it is hip hop, which I don't recommend 5-year-olds or 2-year-olds listening to hip hop.
You understand? I'm figuratively speaking.
No, I wouldn't do it.
No, but what I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is, I'm not judging that, because I think one thing that people think, and there's the big argument is out. Does religion make people better? Does it not? Does art make people worse or not? Do people reflect that? I believe, and what I've seen with my children at least, the art that they saw did not make them go out and, they love first shooter games. They wanted to be shooters. The values that they were taught by their parents, and you both know my 21 and 19-year-old, and we know your kids now. I believe they embody the values to a certain extent of being good people. And that'll always be the argument. Like, okay, is that song affecting somebody? And what is a great piece of art? I mean, I just saw, like, on the news, they freaked out that a teacher showed the David. Michelangelo's The David at a school. They fired the teacher. But again, I think the most important thing is that at home, these kids are learning values, and the most important, which you'll see it sometimes, you'll see it with a kid with a dog. When you see your child not being nice to a dog, and I don't mean, I'm talking physically. When you see a kid hit a dog, and you go, and it's not learned from someone else. You just go, okay, do I have a psychopath? Or do I have something natural instinct in them? And you keep trying to tell them, this is not okay. You need to be nicer to creatures that cannot handle it. And fortunately for me, I found that both of my kids have grown up to be animal lovers and empathetic. But my daughter used to pull my dog's tail and laugh. And I'd be like, is there something wrong with her? Like, why is she doing this? So I just think you have to keep trying to, and we all have different values. But I think the value that everyone can share is to be decent to other people, to be decent to animals, and try to look out for as many people as you can.
Doug is a big animal guy. If you cross the animals, you're going to have beef with Doug.
That is true.
His animals.
That is true.
His animals.
That is true.
Listen, for me, like I said, it's it's something new every day that you learn, things that you get right or wrong. But it's funny, looking back, even like we're already at 2 years old. Like you gotta go meet with preschools and do this stuff. I'm like in this meeting, like trying to be. I don't know who am I supposed to be. So I was like, you look tired and grouchy. I said, I am.
Yeah.
Tired and grouchy. Like these schools are like basically not judging, but it's like, hey, yeah, come on, we didn't make the first cut. I'm like, what do you mean we didn't make the first cut?
What?
Yeah, we did not make the
For nursery school?
Yeah, at this nursery school. I like it. It comes heavily recommended. It's close. We wanted to go there, and it was like a thing. Getting in there was a show.
We did an episode on Entourage about
Well, that's
it.
what I'm saying.
And that
I
was
was
my
like, wow,
son
this-
playing that guy.
All of that
That was a nursery
makes
school.
different
That was a
sense.
No, that was like K through 12, so kindergarten. Yeah. And he did not get in, and I did an episode about it with him actually doing it, and now he's in college. It's not
crazy.
believable.
So what is to you? What is masculinity? What is being a man? You said earlier. You said you have to become a man.
Push-ups.
just really, I meant grown up is what I meant. But you have to step up to the plate. There's no more messing around, no more going out every night. When all my friends were still doing it, my brothers were doing it, and I had to
Big
stay home with the
adjustment for
baby.
you at your
When
age,
you're that
right?
age,
Oh my God,
I'm so
that's
young.
crazy. Yeah.
And I mean, being a man is a different thing. I know a little bit about that myself.
Let me ask you. I got a question for you guys on this. Did you feel, because you both were early, like first rounders? Did you feel not pressure, but like it was kind of what you were supposed to do at that point?
First rounders,
Meaning like there was a time frame where like that's what you did.
I didn't feel
You got out of
pressure.
college. You got right.
I didn't feel pressure. I feel like I learned from my parents. I have great parents who I feel taught me well. So if you were raised right, it's easier to be a good parent. And I'm lucky I had both my parents stayed together till the end. My dad just passed away about a year and a half ago, and he was a great man.
He was a great man.
I'm from good peeps, that helps.
I wanted kids. I wanted them young. I would have
So
never.
You made that
Yeah,
choice.
like I would have never gotten married if I didn't want children. Nothing against marriage, but I wanted children. I want this one too. I wish I was 20 years younger because it is scary. But as far as being a man, because I know it's like the whole conversation of the world now is about masculine toxicity, all this stuff. Man, women, whatever it is, to me, being a person and being a responsible human being and realizing that you have another life that actually, and I believe this, is more important than mine. Like when I think about all of my ambitions and all of my goals in life, the biggest ones are I want my kids to be better off than me, and I want them to do something better than me, and I want them to do things to help other people, which I've tried to do, so whatever, but more than me. And those are like the primary things that keep me up at night every night are not, oh, am I going to make another TV show? Am I going to make money? Are my kids going to be happy, healthy, good citizens who do something that people respect and love,
And so more specifically, like, how do we get there? There's pushback on Entourage about what we represented, right? And maybe we're reflecting something in the culture, but how do we represent something that is wholesome in quality, and is it telling those stories? Is it communicating that?
So again, my feeling is with regards to Entourage, those are values that I wholeheartedly believe in, which are loyalty, respect, and family. And again, people have big mouths and people say stupid things with their boys and whatever. Whether it's excusable or not is for other people to decide. But I think those guys, if it was 3 men and a baby, I'd want those 4 guys to be guardians to my child. I would want them to look out for them, and I believe that they would do everything they could to make sure that kid was okay and doing the right thing. And I think those are
We could have handled a baby
yeah, absolutely.
at the house.
Yeah.
That might
What about
be the
turtles
sequel.
smoking
Yeah.
all that weed in front of the baby.
Well, we would
Entourage and a
we
baby.
would have addressed that, but what would have happened? That would have been really funny.
That'd be a good episode.
But I don't think
That would have had to be like season 12.
Yeah.
Like,
of
men and a
course,
baby.
culture evolves, and we've all whatever. But what I take away from Entourage and what I grew up with in my childhood was I had friends that were really loyal to me. To this day, they're my same best friends from kindergarten. And I pray my kids have those lifelong relationships. And those are people that I believe I could count on if I needed something for my children. And that's, the best thing any family can do is take care of their own. And then you can start spreading out and trying to help other people if you can. But that being said, and again, I'm very lucky, and you are as well. My kids so far have turned out really great. But I have plenty of friends.
Saying something's wrong with Kennedy?
I have plenty of friends, though. Sometimes, genetically, there's things that are,
Or it just doesn't always go well for people, right? But
yeah,
there's always
or life gets in the
another
way,
time, right?
and a lot of people. Which, knock on wood, if I can stay healthy right now, a lot of people don't have time to just be like, I need to focus on my children and help them in any way they can. They have to do other things. They have to pay their bills. So you do the best you can,
Yeah, but how do you make an accurate assessment of whether or not you're on the right track, or if you've
You can't.
you can't?
You can't. No. How can you make an accurate
How do you
assessment?
increase awareness, mindfulness, like you said?
I think
consciousness?
I think if people every day go, am I being the best that I can be? And if you, like I said, if you look at yourself and your interactions with your child, like Kevin yelling at the dog in front of the child, do you go, what?
I didn't know. I didn't necessarily.
No, but you know what I'm
confirmed
saying.
that it was me. Everybody yells at the dogs. Everybody yells at the dogs. That's the whole point. It wasn't necessarily
But what
me.
I'm saying, if
And
you
I didn't
look
lay a
at
hand
it,
on the dog.
If you're able to take yourself out of your body, I've never put my hand on my dog. I'd kill you if I see you put your hand on your dog. But if you can take yourself out of the situation, which again, I have a bad temper.
No.
I literally will try to walk away from my children, and I work on it. But if you at least are thoughtful enough to go, is that someone I want to be? Like, if you looked at it and you take that moment, and if you do make a mistake, whether it's apologizing to your significant other, spouse, whatever it is, or your child, that's close to the best you can do, because everyone's going to fall. I mean, at some point.
So do we need a higher standard for men, or are we doing okay?
I don't think there's a general rule for anybody, because I think when people talk about men or white people, black people, Asian people, there's no groups. There's good people, there's good men, there's bad men, there's good women, there's bad women.
How do you
Well
make the
said, well
distinction?
Well, obviously that's a judgment that everybody's going
I'm asking you to make that
Well, for
judgment.
me, the way I make the distinction is if you are thoughtful enough to take a look at yourself and go, you know what? I wasn't the best I could have been. I should do better, and I will keep trying to do better. That's really all you can do,
I mean, for me, I wish I could think about all that, but I just have to worry about me because of my daughter, right? I it's like I'm just like, whoa, all right, this is what I have to do. As much as I'd like to worry about like what other men are doing, I can only control what I'm doing.
Who do you look up to as a man? Like, what men do you say? If I need,
He looks up to me a little bit.
Dillon a little bit, day trading skills.
I realized I didn't have any, real like true masculine role models growing up.
You didn't. Your dad wasn't around.
My
right?
dad wasn't there, and then the
Yeah.
men that were in my life were teaching me to be, would teach me to womanize, would teach me to lie and cheat, would teach me to, hide.
They would literally teach you this, like say, this is what you should do.
No, through demonstration.
Right.
By being,
Their actions.
just who they are,
Yeah.
right? And they had their own reasons for being.
Yeah.
So, I'm just thinking about all the unconscious things that they brought to my life and taught me through demonstration.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so there are things that we can do to, either choose better role models, because there are some that are better and some that aren't,
Yeah.
So it's one thing to just be like, well, I'm just going to worry about myself, but we are all.
I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying it's like such a
Guy's a
so much
self-centered
to
dog beater.
so much to figure out on my own. Like I'm just going to assume that Doug's got something figured out. You know what I mean?
No, but I mean, I think what you're asking again, and it is trying to judge other people. There are people, like you said, you grew up with role models that behave.
Did you have healthy role models growing up?
I think my parents did the best they could.
But you keep coming back to this,
Yeah.
the best that you can, and you sort of an excuse to,
It feels like
it
that's
Because
sometimes
you
it's
can't be
just
perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody's
Yeah.
perfect.
recognize, sure, but we can at least strive for better, and so we have to create
do.
a vision
Yeah.
for what's better.
I do. I look at things that were in my childhood, and again, my kids, I guarantee, will say the same thing. They'll look at things in their childhood and try to improve upon them. I think that my parents, I was their priority. That being said, were there things that I wish they had done differently? And you know,
That's what I want to know about.
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I think that, and we've all learned this more now, you know, the world has changed so much from even like things like ADD. I was obviously a bright kid, but I was called lazy almost every day of my life, literally. And those things are impressionable to kids. And I now have 2 kids with ADD. And I work really hard to go, you do the best you can, because the reality is it's not what we used to think. If you work harder, you're going to do well in school. No, that's not true. I was never going to do well in school, no matter how hard I worked. It just wasn't for me. So I try to listen to my kids. I try to encourage them that the best you can do is your best effort. It really is. And I think that's a difference that I've learned from the generation past. And again, my parents, they worked their ass off to make sure I could go to the best schools and I could have the best opportunities. But I had a Harvard Law School brother that it was the easiest thing in the world for him. For me, it was like I used to sit in class, go, is there something wrong with me? I don't know what these people are talking about, you know, and I don't want to be here. So I think you learn who your kids are, and like you said earlier, listen. The most important thing, men or women, which we know women, you know, I don't want to put anyone in a box, but they probably listen better as a rule.
What?
That's by the way, it's a line from it's a pilot of Entourage. But
Call back, Doug.
But I
That
think
was an improv on my part, if you recall.
I think listening.
Remember, Adrian? It was you and me.
Yeah.
You're like, good actors listen, right, Johnny? I go, what?
at the kitchen table.
Sure,
Yeah.
Doug wrote that.
No, it wasn't written. That was improv.
No, that definitely was not improv.
You know, Adrian,
Yeah,
I
it
never
was.
really thought about it, but I don't.
Of course it was.
My
That's the
dad
whole joke.
died. I was young.
You killed it.
and then I moved out
brought it to
here.
an 11.
So I never really had a role model, I guess. I never really thought about
Well,
it. Not that other than you, but I mean, you know, it's true. Like my dad died. I was 16. 2 years later, I'm on a plane
Your
in
brother's older.
California.
You have an older brother,
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, like we were all going through it together. He's not that much. He's not that much older than
No.
me, you know. So I was just kind of out here with sort of peers more than anything else. But it certainly wasn't somebody like, wow. Never did I see somebody.
You were raised by Leo.
Right, but like that's my perfect example. But like I look at like my friends and these guys, and it's like everybody was just kids. There was nothing.
Yeah.
And that-
all
and that-
my friends, you know, didn't have their fathers, and we raised each other. The masculine part, right? For better, for worse. Sometimes not.
And that's why
Happened in the valley, in
and that's
Studio
why it's
City.
so hard to judge, because I know my parents, everything about their plans in life was to help give their kids a better life than they had. My parents grew up with nothing. I know that was their game plan. But a lot of people who don't have those parents, you know, and then they go into the next cycle of trying to do it. The only thing you can hope is that everybody goes, whatever my childhood experience was, how can I do my best to make it better for my kids? And that doesn't mean spoiling them. That doesn't mean being hypercritical of them. But I think trying to get to know your children and know that they are individuals as much as you think they are little clones of you. They're not. And you realize that very quickly. I grew up with 3 boys. We are so wildly different growing up in the same house that I'm sure they would have completely different answers to any of these questions, you know?
One thing that always kind of, I don't want to say it bothered me because it's not that big of a deal. Because like Doug said this to me. Doug's like, well, that's just what people do. But when, you know, Kennedy's walking around, it's like, oh, look at that. She's got, you know, Zulai's eyes. And it's like, no, Zulai's got her eyes. Those are Kennedy's eyes. Oh, she's got so-and-so's nose. No. Looks like her nose. You know, called me crazy. So I've always felt that.
Yeah.
I said to Doug, I was like, kind of bothers me when people say those things. Doug's like, well, that's what people do. And you're right.
Yeah.
Of course, it's almost like you're making conversation or something.
But the interesting thing that you do see, and maybe you see this with your mom, or, you know, I know you lost your parents young, but like there's things that bug the shit out of me about my father. And then I'm doing them, and I feel it. I'm like, I am this fucking guy. Like, it's genetic.
Cats in the cradle.
And again, that is not to be negative about my father. I have a great father.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, but sometimes I go, do not do what you did not like. Don't do that to your children.
It's great.
You know?
I got, you know, I know your mom, know your dad.
Yeah.
Got to know your mom.
Yep.
You knew my mom
And
a
you
little bit,
guys,
too.
yeah,
remember,
and your
yeah.
mom a little bit too.
Yeah.
And you guys got to know both of my parents,
Yep.
which is really cool. You know, we've been around that long that we know each other's.
How big of a deal is the generational gap? Like, how different was it for your dad and your dad? Like, you know what I mean? And how I think.
What do you
about-
mean, how different for what?
Meaning that, like, Kennedy. This is a boring story, but Kennedy will point to things in a book, right? Like it's whatever the green room, whatever. It's a kid's book, but you'll point to things and you'll say, "Hey, where's this? Where's that?" And I'll say, "Where's the phone?" And she doesn't know what a rotary phone is. if it was just a black dot, she would point to that as the phone. But
Somehow they
she'll
get
never
it though.
put
But
gas-
somehow she'll get it. Like my kids
you
know what
understand what I'm saying?
CDs
Like,
are, even though they never saw them.
But it
and-
won't be available. They're not
Yeah.
available now. Like what I think about, I do get hung up on. Okay, well, she graduates high school in 2039.
Yeah.
Like what's happening?
But
It's
you
scary.
gotta
Or is
remember-
it just like this?
But you know what you got to remember?
Maybe
Is
it's the same.
every generation, every generation in every culture, the kids are destroying
Blame's the
everything.
one before.
They do. The kids are destroying everything. Rock and roll
Yeah.
was destroying
Right,
everything.
right,
The
right,
internet was
right.
destroying everything. Television was destroying everything. And you know, that's the thing. And our generation is so different, which I don't know what this next raising thing was. My parents were not my friends. They were my parents. They were the enforcers of rules and guidance.
That is
Then-
true in my case as well.
and then you got
Mine
to
as
this.
well,
Then
yeah.
you got to this world, you know, and I love my ex-wife, but it was a little different for me. I grew up and I wanted to be a parental figure. I did not want to be buddies with my kids. I'm not even saying which is the right answer because I don't know. And my ex-wife, I give her great credit because my kids are awesome, but you just have to try to go with it. And again, always be mindful of exactly what Kevin Dillon said. I don't give a shit about going out or seeing a game. All I care about is that my kids are okay. And if you can kind of live like that while still fulfilling your dreams, because if you sacrifice them, you'll be bitter and angry. That's, it is all you can do,
I got a good idea for you. This is one of the best things I did. I started an email address for Kennedy. And what I'll do is on momentous occasions, I'll send the video and I'll email it to her and say, hey, on this day,
Oh, that's cool.
It's awesome.
I
the
like that.
Islanders lost an overtime game
She's not going to care
to
about
the
that.
Boston Bruins, but it's stamping the time. By the way, unfortunately, our doctor passed away in a horrible accident in Will Rogers State Park, mountain bike, healthy guy doctor. He fell up and died. I sent the link of the story. Said, hey, one day you may want to read about this. This happened not long after you were born. So I keep a.
And that's the doctor that delivered her?
Yeah,
That's
he
great.
died. I sent the, so it just keeps tracking. Sometimes it's really stupid,
Yeah,
and
but
I mean,
also-
Zulai's writing poems.
That's
I'm
really-
like,
yeah, it's sweet.
today
That's awesome.
they stormed the Capitol. You and I were watching it on TV. Like that's the
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
But I
send
make
her.
little
love it.
videos too, and we know Julian Farino, our director, one of our great directors on Entourage. He did those 7-Up documentaries, which are amazing. And I used to sad I didn't keep it up, but I have interviews with my kids when they were little, talking about what they want to be in life. And what they're
Melissa
gonna do.
said, gotta hand it to Doug. One thing he did good was shoot video.
I
She
documented.
said that Doug has an entire lifetime on video.
You were good with that with Entourage, too, man. There's
Yeah.
no shortage of his videos and his
It's sad
photographs.
though that they're now like I got to transfer them and do this and hopefully still have them because now on the iPhone you guys have no excuses not to get these moments and they are incredible. When I see them, when I see old.
Oh, when you pull one off too, it's
Oh,
glorious.
I have these videos of Lucas in Hawaii when he was 6, 7, talking about what he wants to do with his life. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it's
right.
it's great. So I would, without being, you don't want to be annoying because I have had my kids go, get that camera out of my face. But, it's special. It's special
had
to
us
keep
like
it.
that.
I was gonna say. I was thinking. I'm
Sticking
thinking about
cameras
it
on
right
your
now. I
face.
feel like you probably have a camera on
16
me.
years.
Some
There's 3
hidden
on you right
camera,
now,
but
you
it's,
know?
you got your own. He's shooting a long lens shot from the roof.
You know what? I personally, I don't want to miss a minute, and I think all parents should want to do that while still. And I think Adrian's one of those guys. And I've tried. I brought my kids to, and again, I don't want to we all could do more, but I would bring my kids to soup kitchens. I would bring my kids to see less fortunate people. I would do whatever I can to make them realize that they're very, very lucky, and there are a lot of people out there that are not. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's why we chose the preschool that we chose. Truthfully, it's like we're Catholic, but it's a Christian, and so you go in, you go, what does this mean? Like, what do you? And they just say, just being generally thankful.
Yeah.
It's not a religious driven school. It's being thankful and
Just rich
appreciative.
kids. Just rich kids.
Yeah, got to donate $100,000 to get into that school.
So, what about nature? I know, Kevin, you were expressing that you would be interested
love
in
it.
living closer to the land and being
Yes.
more
I'm kind of
connected.
jealous of what you got going on. I think I'm really happy for you because that's something I've always loved, having a little bit of land. I used to have chickens right in Malibu. Only had 3/4 of an acre, but I was right near the state forest out there, and so I would, mountain bike and have a great time. But I just
You
love
were
it.
nature
It's
there. You were
Yeah,
big
it's
nature.
nature.
You had
right
a
near
great
near the
little spot there.
ocean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, well, that's one regret that I have is I didn't connect with you more in that way. I didn't know how to. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I never got the invite. But
you guys always had the invite. I was raising a kid at that stage.
well,
so you
yeah.
guys were out
So
partying
your
a lot.
kid
But all
had,
that-
But I was raising Ava.
and
at that
and
stage.
Ava had a relationship with the chickens and understood
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And see,
Oh, I
so
got
so what
great
about
pictures
raising
of her.
kids closer to nature? That's
Oh, I think
one
it's
reason
great.
why I moved outside of Austin in Texas is because I wanted to be able to raise my kids
Yeah, it's a great
in
place
connection
to
with
raise them.
animals
You
and
know?
nature, and teach them that connection to the earth.
Yeah.
It does weigh heavily
grew
on
up
me.
with lots of couple dogs and chickens and.
But it's such a tough thing because that's
Fruit
what happens.
trees
you,
everywhere.
You had your experiences that got you where you are today, whatever that is, and then you find new things and you think that's the right thing, and you try to bring it to your kids, but we don't know. We just don't know.
I haven't had a trick or treater in 15 years. I just want trick or treaters. Nature. I
be
just
in the right
I
house
just
for
need to
that.
be.
Well,
a
but
little
forgetting
bit-
even nature, like one of the things, community, which is how I grew up, and my kids did not grow up the way I did. In LA, even though the houses were still pretty much on top of each other, no one talked to each other. I know still
I
to this
avoid
day,
my neighbors like the plague.
but I know legitimately,
You guys yell at each other. You're like,
but I know
"Keep it down over
25
there."
people from my street, Winsome Avenue in Merrick, that I could call tomorrow, that I grew up playing sports with, that I knew their parents, that I knew everybody, and we were just a community, and everybody got on their bikes and whatever, and no one was worried
So
about
community connection is important.
It's gotten sadly less now.
but,
It's
but
just,
couldn't you create that?
I don't
Isn't
know.
that something you
I
want to
think
do
that's-
intentionally?
I am
I think
thinking
it's
about
less
how I
here
can.
and more in New York, maybe though.
Maybe in the
I think it still
suburbs.
is. I still see.
So
I go to my old neighborhood.
So
I
what
see kids
values
playing
are
on the
important,
street.
right? I guess nature, community.
Yeah.
I think community, to echo Doug's point, for us, even if you had a beef with the neighbor, you still watched out for their house. You know what I mean? Like the kids are bickering, like the kids are fighting, so there's like a thing. But you looked out for every house on that block, and everybody was ultimately on the same team. It's just not there. I'm guilty of it. It's nothing wrong with my neighbors. I just don't necessarily want to make chit chat.
But also, everyone's fear based now, and you worried about my parents were pretty strict, but take the bike, disappear for 9 hours. Nobody was like, we didn't have a phone. We didn't have a helmet on. Nobody was going, where are you? What are you doing? This and that.
Are you fear based?
Yeah, for sure. Which I hate. I mean, I worry about my
So it's something that could improve.
for sure.
So
For sure.
what are
I
you
think it's
what are
the
you doing to
times,
improve that?
Everyone's like that now.
It's just
Right?
so
It's just a
hard. It's
different
like,
time.
you can't, you would never get in your, and it's, of course it's stupid, but you would never get in your car without putting the kid in the freaking seat. Whereas our parents were like in the back, not our parents, my parents, because I'm a lot older than you guys,
Yeah.
or me and Dillon. are
They
older
would
than
they
you
would
guys.
throw
Like, we'd be
6
in the back
kids
of
in a
the car.
station
Yeah.
wagon. They both light up cigarettes, like in the front. We'd be
You
like,
didn't
"No,
put
no
seatbelts on in the
No, I
back. Like
remember
you
that,
turned
yeah.
left and all the kids shot over to the right of the car.
Do you
and the other
remember
way.
when
Yeah,
they
we're
came out with the
just floating around.
seatbelt law? People were like, don't tell me what to do. Like,
Right.
what are
How
you,
many
crazy?
lives has that saved?
Yes,
Unbelievable.
of course. And but at the same time, it's also made us. And again, there's no downside to seatbelts, but the society has become so scared of everything, and you can't turn on the news without worrying you're going to get blown up, carjacked, this, that, and the other thing. And of course, I don't want my kids to grow up with that. I was fearless as a child. I had no. And by the way, I had gangsters living next to me who actually did kill people.
So
But
are you're legitimately scared now?
I mean, I worry.
For them.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I worry
saying.
about a lot
We're
of
just
things.
worried about-
What are they growing up?
that.
What are these kids walking into?
Yeah,
So,
I worry
yeah,
about a
guess-
lot of stuff.
Maybe it's good.
Are times
So-
tougher now, or
Maybe
are
it's
people-
good.
I don't know.
But they're going to pick up on the fear in your
course.
heart,
Of
and they're going to
course.
pick up on the fear on the television and the news.
Yeah.
They're going to pick up on all that fear. So how can we raise them so that they don't have to be afraid?
I don't have the answer to that because I do think there's part of me, I used to have Russell Wilson's mental coach, famous quarterback, who he passed away, and he was a brilliant guy, and he wrote these books, and he helped all these athletes, and it was about neutral, not being positive, not being negative, but keeping neutral. And the news it's devastatingly awful. It's biased on both sides, and it's impossible to sit there and watch it. But at the same time, you don't want to bury your head in the sands and not know what the hell is going on in the world.
There's a healthy fear, right? I mean, you want them to have a little bit of fear.
Of
I mean, our
course.
parents did it with us too. They'd say, don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
If you're doing anything they would give us, watch out for certain signs.
Stay away from the Dillon house.
Yeah, exactly.
After dark.
We'll swarm you like bees.
But just think about that. I mean, the and this is sort of off topic, but the rareness of God forbid, a child kidnapping is so incredibly rare. When we were kids is when the first thing started to happen. Or when
Milk cartons. I remember those.
That was the first thing.
That were haunting.
Okay, and those were the first times you heard about these things, and now people legitimately spend their time worrying about it, which I'm not telling anybody not to, but it's the odds of it happening are like, it's much more likely that
It could happen.
Of course it could happen, but anything could happen. But it's much more likely that Zulai will run away from you with the child than like a stranger is going to come take your kid.
What are you trying to say?
It could happen. It could happen.
What I'm really saying though is how do you remove? I don't have the answer at all. How do you
do not.
try to remove those things so you don't spend your time thinking about every time you get in the car, every time you do this,
And here's the other thing, and this is a question for you, Adrian, because I feel like you're going down not going down a road, but you're going to be strict with the news, the TV, consumption, all that, right? Technology.
Probably not going to be a lot of TV.
Or you don't
Figuring it out.
You're figuring it out. So here's what I'm thinking.
TV.
I'm just wondering. Yeah, I'm just wondering. Like, are you leaving your kid? Like, I was kind of proud when Kennedy skipped the Google ads. I was disturbed, but was kind of proud.
You're like, wow, look how smart she is to be
right,
able
but
to do that.
are you doing something wrong by keeping them out of what's kind of moving the world around? Do you understand my question?
I think we as men
know what I'm
need to be a stand for what's right and what's wrong. Boundaries. We need to create boundaries. And that is what you were speaking to, being an adult parent, not a peer. And so I'm just trying to make a decision about what is right or wrong from my perspective. And I understand that we don't know the answers and that, who knows what's actually going to happen. But if I used to be so laissez-faire, I mean, like, whatever, everything's everything. And, I was just so loose and without boundaries. And I tried everything and did everything that it was unhealthy, So I'm trying to find, how do I be a stand? How do I create boundaries? How do I protect and serve my family and my kids without just being like, well, who knows? I don't know. What is, I can't say. Yeah. I want to say. And
I don't say you can't say. But what I do say is that all of your intentions, at some point you go, I did the best I could because things will go wrong. Period. End of story. But I believe the simplest things that you can do is have your principles that you believe in, which are hopefully being a good person, being a good community person. And really, though, I think everything starts at home. And the most important thing for everybody to do is take care of their family and then start to spread out. I think that lots of people get lost in, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing this, but really make that person that you created to the best of your ability have good, strong values, whatever those may be, because we can disagree on what they are, That's my thought.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to tease out what your values are.
My values are having empathy for others. My values are being a good person, maximizing your potential, not being so judgmental. And again, it doesn't mean I don't have a lot of these things, but those are my...
I find that you often will say something, a statement, and then you'll say, well, but it's not me.
No, it's
I
me.
don't have it.
No, I'm very judgmental, but I try to teach my kids very hardly not to be.
But
yeah.
So you teach something different than you...
Well, I work on myself to get better. All the time. I'll hear myself go, that guy's such a fucking jerk off. And I'm like, what? Like, what's wrong with you? What is in me that, what do I get out of it? What's the point of it?
What are you most struggling with in terms of being the father you want to be? The man you want to be?
What do I most struggle with? It's my ability to communicate clearly what I want without frustration. I think I am, I wrote whether it was perfect or not. I'm a very succinct person. I like to get to the point quickly, and a lot of people don't. Patience, I struggle with a lot. I don't have a lot of it. Surprisingly, so far, I do with my new baby. Thank God.
Well, you see, you're much better.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like you're working on it.
I'm 100% working on it. I work on it all the time. I listen to self-help tapes.
Are you so self-help tapes? You going to therapy? You have any gurus, spiritual leaders?
I mean, I have some whatever is worth. I have some internet gurus that really I read every single day. Just little things.
Who's good?
You know what? I don't even know his name, but every day I post about this guy who gets me to
Daily
think certain
Stoic?
things. Doctor,
Daily
no,
Stoic?
not the Daily Stoic. He's a doctor, but he also talks about nutrition, which I do think is important, and sleep and exercise. But he'll give you a little thing about what's important in life. Wake up today if you have a roof over your head, if you have someone who loves you, if you have a healthy child. Like, those are the important things, not can I get another car? Can I get another thing? So I do. Every day I try. I wake up, I give myself a little, like, mental pep talk. And I say it online, too. I'll post something. I go, listen, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. I post this, so if I don't do this and you see me, Kevin Connolly, shame me if I'm not doing what I'm trying to do today.
Really seizing the day, aren't you, Doug? You don't appear to be seizing the day, Doug. You're looking at your phone and staring down and yelling at somebody.
By the way, try that too, to be more present, because I do think I listened to a guy yesterday, and I don't know his name, sadly, but I listen to Eric Huberman's podcast a lot. But
Andrew Huberman.
Eric.
Is it Eric or Andrew?
There's I know Andrew.
Am I crazy? I think it's Eric. Anyway, I think I have a friend named Eric, and I think there's Andrew. Anyway, it's self-help stuff, but the amount of people, and actually Mike Tyson was talking about this last night with someone on a thing that I sent to Gary Goldman. What's here right now? There is no fear right here, right now. Is there a fear that someone's going to throw a rock over here or shoot us? But that's not here right now. We're just right here having a great time with three people that I fucking love. And why am I thinking about either that, or why am I sad about, oh, God, I wish we could go back to that time, or what? If you can be, which again, it's one of the things I struggle with the most when you ask what I struggle with, being right here, right now, getting rid of that phone. Don't worry about in 5 years, am I going to go broke? Are people going to hate that script that I'm not even done with, or that I haven't even written yet? Those are the things that I struggle with, So that's it.
I see a little movement there, though.
I'm
serious.
trying.
No,
I
I'm
try.
serious.
Yeah. How about you guys? Anything that you're struggling with that you'd like to overcome?
Dylan's like, I'd just like to do better in the day
I got
trade.
nothing. I'd like to be a better day trader. But I gotta pick my entrances and my exits a little bit better. To be honest with you, I feel like I am very present for the most part.
He
I don't
is.
Really,
He's the most present of all of
I don't
us.
worry about the future too much.
He could not have his phone. He's present, Dillon.
Yeah.
Not on
I don't
social
think that's
media.
an issue as
Yeah.
far as being a parent. I'm actually really proud of who I am as a parent and what I've done as a parent. I have two beautiful daughters, and I guess they'll be the judges in the end. But I feel I did a good job. I'm really happy the way they turned out, and I love them.
My dad always used to say, his kids love him. He's a good guy. His kids love him. As that
Yeah.
being the ultimate checkpoint
it, right?
of life is like, how
that's
do
a
your
big-
kids
that's a
how do
big
your
thing.
how do your
If your
kids feel
kids
about you? My dad
don't
said,
love
his
you-
kids love him. His kids
If your
love
kids
him.
don't
fucked up.
love you, no, you really, because I know some terrible parents that their kids love them. But I mean, I really do. But they did the best they could. So I don't think that's the marker. And again, I'm not judging, nothing to do with your situation. I think if your kids believe in your core values, if your kids don't make excuses, if you're a kid, of course I love my dad, but he's a total fucking narcissistic asshole, then you've failed in some way. This has nothing to do with you. But
Well,
I
you
think
keep saying that now. We're
Why do you keep addressing me
because he
with
said
that?
how proud he
Looking
is, and
at
I don't
him,
have a
pointing
clue.
at him, you're doing a
I mean,
million
no,
things.
but
The
what I'm
job's not done.
What I'm saying is,
I
I've
still
never
have
had
a
a
16-year-old
I've
daughter,
never had
so-
a conversation with your children and going, "What do you
Yeah.
think of Kevin Dillon as a dad?" So I can't judge it at all.
I have.
And they
I'm
like
serious.
him.
Yeah.
They like him.
Amy said he's the greatest father that ever walked the face of the earth.
That's
great.
That's all you can ask.
Yeah, that's all I can.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do.
Do they also say he's the best looking or no? I mean, I just want to find out how
I
accurate
they
they
didn't
are.
have to say that. That's obvious. But Adrian's having a kid now, so now
But
I'm
she
in
said
trouble.
that in Saratoga. She said that in Saratoga when we were at the restaurant. She said that to me.
Oh, she's the best.
But I'm
proud.
also
It's
though
just-
I'm proud of my kids. Do I hate that I got divorced? Yes. I mean, do I feel like that was an enormous failing? And again, I love my ex-wife.
I
and she
agree
lives
on my
around.
end, too, with
She
that.
lives around the corner from me. But do I remember the devastation? Have I had my kids say to me, with this new child, "Don't get divorced"? And we had pretty smooth divorces as they go. But when you have those kids, it's just got to be the priority. And again, don't stay together if it's more damaging for the kids than it is. But I wish I could have had the perfect family that I hoped for, which
Yeah,
was
me too. I mean,
65 years.
That was
of-
the toughest thing, is to
Yeah.
put your kid through.
Yeah.
Well, I would love all of you to come to Texas to actually be on the land and do an episode
Amen.
of Earth Speed.
Amen.
I would like
On
to
the
do
ranch.
that.
I'd love
All
to
of
do
us.
that.
I would not like to do it scattered. I'd like to do it all of us.
Yeah,
Like,
we got to
You
get
ready to
Jerry.
go, then?
Jerry's
'Cause
got
I'm
to go
ready
too.
I'm ready.
Like Dillon will go tonight.
I can't
I'll go
picture
right now.
Jerry
I got
getting
it.
on the. I can't picture Jerry getting in the family truckster to Texas to live off the land.
Jerry idolizes the Griswolds, bro.
Yeah?
Don't sleep on it.
I would love it.
He fancies
We're
himself.
going to Wally World.
He fancies himself a Clark Griswold type.
By the way, if we could get Jerry and go to Adrian's for whatever and live off the land for a second, and by the way, I
In
don't
a
know-
station wagon, no seatbelts.
if we could bring the kids,
Tie the dog to the bumper
You know, I know that
like they
mine's
did.
young, but I would love to do that.
Yeah, bring the kids. Go. We'll go camping. Go fishing.
So
Play
you
with-
got, yeah.
It's near impossible to pull off.
I'm a terrible camper.
Fly
Just so we're
fishing
clear,
would be
I'm not gonna lie
It's
about it. I'm a
impossible
horrible
to pull
camper.
off.
I'm a
Doug,
spoiled.
There's no
Well,
way
you-
you're just
He's gonna
unzipping
sleep in the
tent.
car.
You have
It's gonna
from
be
now until
complaining.
then to work on it.
Do you know I
Doug will
did
be- you
camping
would be
trip?
the
You know,
worst person
like
to
as a
camp
kid,
with,
you know, you go on a
Can you
teen
imagine?
tour, and then you guys
There's
remember
bugs.
these?
That would be
But
like,
there
there's
would be
bugs
like, you know, like
love
this.
camping.
There was the teen tour, and there was like the fancy rich kid one, which was like all hotels. Then there was like the real
Glamping.
earthy kids that was all camping, and then there was the kids who tried their best to be with nature, so it was half and half. I just am not a great camper. I
You know,
would try.
Doug. I have
I
to
would
say,
hate
there's
Jared
there's
Cameron.
no better place to face your fears than out in the wild.
Oh God.
To
Be like
to face the
Deliverance.
You need a
darkness.
good buck knife. You need a good buck knife.
I just the Dillon on a six pack out in the wild would
I
scare
have a
me.
trusty knife
Don't
right
pull
here.
out
I
your
don't know
buck
where-
knife, please. Dillon's like in the outsiders, bro. He whips out his
I had mine taken at TSA on the way here.
Oh,
yeah.
no. You gotta always make
I'm
sure
also, you know what?
packing. I like it.
I'm a
I
sad
would
part of
run back.
nature because I do love nature, but I do love animals so much, and I get it. I get the reality of the world. But do you know how much I despise live kills and animals torturing each other and fight? I mean, Dylan's like, I love that. It literally hurts
Nature
my soul,
take
even
its
though I know
course.
it's what it
No,
is.
but nature- yeah.
It's what it is. I
The
don't.
coyotes got to
what
eat
can-
too. The
I don't
coyotes
want to
gotta
be
eat,
on a
and so does the
safari.
wolf.
I get it, and I feel bad for the coyotes. I want to save them. I don't like it.
They're getting a pellet in the ass.
But they don't mean anything. They're just trying to survive. It's
Well,
like
that's not.
Listen,
they can't have
if
Kennedy.
if I was
They can't
your
have-
Of course they
Can't
can.
have Kennedy.
That's yeah.
look, but they could have gillies. Is that what you're saying?
Gilly's died a long time ago. But thanks
Bossy.
for bringing that up. He's also dead.
Who do you got?
Going?
Who do you got?
I got Brody and
Nystrom?
Chloe. Brody and Chloe.
You
are
said you
still
were going to
there, and
release
they
them
are-
to the wild. By the way. He was going to release the two French bulldogs. Sometimes I just open the door and go, let's see what they want. But I'm
I
not
wouldn't
a.
do that. All of a sudden, this is the new narrative
Sorry.
now. I'm some kind of a dog abuser.
No, you
Like,
love your
I-
dog. I know you love your
It's
dog.
the coyotes you're so mean to.
No, but the coyotes, when you see them, you see these videos.
They're from me to there. And
But you
I
ever
got
see these
my kid
videos
there,
where
so
a wild
shut
coyote
yes,
and
they're
like
fine.
a raccoon become best friends? Like for real shit. Like they're all just trying to eat. That's all animals
Yeah.
do. That's
They
why I
can't
like
have
animals
Kennedy
better
and
than
they can't
humans.
have Chloe
I know
and they
can.
can't
I'm
have
not
Brody.
suggesting they should have our children. I'm just saying animals have no bad intentions.
If you want
They just
peace,
survive,
prepare for
you know?
war. If you want peace, prepare for
So you
war.
can't. Remember what I said about listening? You have
What?
to listen.
What'd you say?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, well, I would definitely, if I was your doctor, I would prescribe to you
Yeah.
a
Drugs.
daily dose of nature
Yes.
connection.
Heavy narcotics.
But like metal nature, like you ever see that site?
I would
Nature
go-
metal.
an opioid.
I would go with
base.
mushrooms.
kills
I
me.
would like just dose you up with mushrooms like crazy.
Like I just want to believe the cheetahs come up to me and lick my
Psilocybin.
face like my
Give this
cat.
guy good dose.
No, it's a dangerous,
Psilocybin.
wild
Like
world
opioids.
teetering on the edge of life and death.
No, it is.
At every moment.
Maybe humans
And-
are supposed to be like that too. That's the thing we don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you might be a little bit disconnected from that reality. and
100%.
So there's
I
a
hate that
fear
reality.
of that ultimate
I despise
demise,
that
that
reality.
mortality.
I despise the dog eat dog mentality. Even though I will kill for
I
my
think
children,
we need to get
but
him
I
on
just hate
Naked
it.
and Afraid. He'll be naked and we'll be afraid.
I would be afraid.
We'll be like, oh my God. Put
I
him
would
back
not.
on.
I would not do well.
I
in
would
that
not tune into
certain-
that.
So you said you said you'd kill for your children. Would you be able to?
100%.
But you have no skills.
Well, I could shoot my gun. I mean,
You have a gun?
I have 3 guns.
Oh.
And by the way, just so we're clear about who I am, because I get a lot of this stuff online. Typical liberal is gone. That world doesn't exist. But I lean more to the traditional liberal. But the reality is, you have to protect yourself, especially the way we're living right now. And yeah, I have 3 guns, 2 German Shepherds, and I have no problem. I would much rather shoot a bad human than a bad animal. I mean, it's not even a maybe. Like, yeah. What's the
There's no such thing as a bad animal. They're all good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
there are bad humans, though. There are bad
yeah.
humans.
So do you go to the gun range?
I do go to the gun range.
Oh.
My son is, has volunteered with the police department since he's 10, 11 years old. He's
always wanted to be a cop
Yeah.
since he was
Lucas is
tiny.
tactical. It's
Yeah.
great.
Wow.
No, fireman. He wanted to be a fireman, actually.
Still.
Was it
Now-
fireman or cop?
was started out as fireman, and now
Okay, yeah.
he is a police officer at school at the University of Arizona. He works for the University of Arizona Police Department. And
So we all grew up
So-
with his son
Are you-
Lucas. Since he was 2, right, on Entourage. So we got that was great.
So maybe we should all go hunting.
I can't.
Do you go hunting?
I can't.
Do you hunt with a bow?
No, I want to learn.
That would be cool.
See, I would
Yeah.
not want to. Here's my problem with the hunting. I
Goodwill?
understand because I eat animals.
Hunting?
I don't want them to suffer, and I don't want like Connolly with his shitty aim to like take out the back end of a
got it.
calf, and like he's not going down.
But that's why you have to practice.
Yeah, you got to shoot
gotta
it
get-
straight
but things
and
can
shoot
happen.
it right in
All right,
between
but
the
what if you
shoulder
miss?
blades. And,
You have to take responsibility.
yeah. But you know what? You could fill up your fridge with some beautiful venison. The meat is really healthy, delicious.
I could set that up.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would do it.
Do you have any kills?
So I have a guy who actually does a sacred hunt. So it's all done within the context of,
Sacred,
reverence
right.
for
Do you eat the heart
animal.
too, and just
Nose
the
to
whole-
tail, the whole thing. Drink the blood.
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
like shots, or what do you do?
Like Red Dawn.
You just
So they did in Red Dawn.
Yeah.
See, you asked me one of my problems. Some of reality I just don't like. I don't enjoy it, and I don't like it. And I understand it's real, but I despise the idea.
But what I'm saying to you is all the fear that I'm feeling coming
Yeah.
from you
Scared
might
fear
be
vibes.
healed if you confront that part of you that's squeamish about these things.
I don't know.
You
that
got to
it's-
let your inner man out, Doug. Is what we're saying.
I don't know that
Can
it's
you imagine Doug on a
squeamish.
tree, like on a hunting stand? Like it's just not. It'll
gonna
never
fall
fit.
out of the
It'll
tree.
Never, wouldn't suit you. It's
I
just
would
not who you
rather
are.
shoot the guy that fucking likes to do trophy hunting than shoot a lion. That's my feeling. And now I get what you're saying, and I
like
understand.
a guy that's
and
going
I
to shoot like a bear or an elephant.
no,
or
like
whatever.
these canned hunting things.
Right.
I would 100,000,000% rather shoot those people that pay $100,000 to go kill a lion in a trapped place. I would rather shoot that guy than shoot that lion. Like a
But
million
there would
percent.
be a major problem if we.
It'd be a
don't-
horrible thing
you have
to
to
do.
cull the population of deer down because unless
I
we're going
know.
to bring wolves back.
Well, yeah, I mean,
If
you
we
say
bring
you
wolves
eat
and bears
meat,
back, we
right?
couldn't-
So
I
think
know.
about the suffering that goes
I'm a
into
hypocrite. I know.
killing all those animals
You're in denial
in
about it.
factory farms.
try to
No,
put myself
I am in denial,
I'm
and
aware
that's
of it.
why I try now to look into organic and how this is happening, and anyway, it is a part of me that I guess I don't think I'll ever be cured. of
Denial's
this.
not just a river in Egypt. Doug.
Well, yeah, I look, sit with it, think about it.
Yeah.
It might be an experience that would open something up for you.
It's never going to
Did you ever see? I don't know if it was Chappelle.
I
don't know if it was
I mean, I'm
Chappelle.
sitting at the.
I'd like to start a
Look,
wild
you're,
boar.
you're in.
listening.
You're in.
No, I mean, but I
100%
understand. I'm
listening.
not. No, I mean, like he's saying, like, go hunting, Doug. Try it.
I
Let's
don't
Let's
want
do
to
a
shoot
wild
an
boar
I
hunt.
do not want to shoot an animal.
Well, you can come hunting.
Like,
and you
I would
can
rather-
experience it with us.
I'm not sure I could do it, but I would rather do the.
What about fishing?
The
Is that
humane
how you
calf-
shoot?
No. I'm talking about the metal thing from like Old Country, New Country for Old Men, like where they shoot the
they shoot in the
cow
brain,
and
yeah.
he's over. And I would rather, which would be horrible for me. I don't like it, but I would be better off doing that than like, oh, I shot him in the leg and now he's crying on the floor. I don't want to be involved in that. It's not something I need in my life. I've made it to
Yeah, I
55
hear
years
you.
without it.
What about
It's-
fly fishing? You want to go fly fishing?
I've done it.
We could
I
do
love
that.
it.
I
love
actually
that.
don't know how to fish. So
All right.
Fly fishing's
See, I think
tricky.
that's a
It's
good happy
real-
medium. Doug, how do you feel about fishing?
real
If it's
skill.
catch and release.
Yeah, I would fish with you.
That'd be weird. Would that be weird? Like,
No, I just don't like suffering.
Doug.
on an
Yeah,
animal.
hey,
I don't like it.
Doug, you caught the fish. Now you got to take it off the hook. I'd like to see.
I've
Doug
done that.
try
I've
it.
fished. I'll show you some big fish I've caught, but I don't like it. Like I'll show you some bigger fish than you've ever caught. Pictures.
Big
okay?
Wow.
Big fish.
got a big fish
I
story
got your
for me?
big fish right
Big
here.
fish. But I don't have any interest in killing animals myself. Just not my thing. I think I have other things that I can work on before I learn how to
what
kill
about
an animal.
gardening?
Gardening, I like gardening.
Do you garden?
No.
I do.
How much do you like it, Doug?
I mean, it's, by the way, it's
I've
great
done
in
it.
theory. I
I've
just
done
don't
it.
have.
I've done
I
it.
just don't have the
I have
bandwidth.
planted
I don't have the
things, and
bandwidth.
I have.
You have not.
I have planted things, and we have an orange tree. We have
What
a
have
lemon
you?
tree.
What have you planted?
I planted the orange tree. I mean, I don't know that I made it do well, but
I used to have
Did you put your
15
sprinkler
orange
in the
trees.
sunlight?
we have a lot. We grow things at the house, and we eat. We eat things.
I
that
mean,
we
maybe
grow at the
Sarah
house.
does, but you don't do it.
She definitely does it
God,
more than
Nothing
me.
like
You
homegrown
don't do a
tomatoes.
goddamn.
are
You're not
just so
going out.
good.
Oh, honey, look at this tomato I just pulled out of it. No chance. Doug. Who are you kidding? Where's
Animals.
Doug? Oh,
do you
he's-
believe the abuse that I
Yo,
take
where's Doug?
here?
He's in the garden.
You know,
Hold on, let me go.
Everybody,
get him.
all
He's
the
in
audience
garden.
that's listening here, if not for me going, this is the guy, this is the guy. We wouldn't even all know each other. So that's my contribution to this table.
Sorry.
Not murdering innocent fucking animals. I just
Sorry, it
don't
took
want
me
to
a
do
while
it.
to call you back. I was in the garden. Wow, what's up?
Animals.
Well, but you still want to come, right?
No, I want to come
So,
1,000,000%.
but you
I
want
love that you're wanting to bond like this.
You want to come?
Yeah,
Yeah,
great
I'm-
idea. I love it.
Well, I think we deserve it after all this time. You know,
I may
Sit in a
sit
tree
out the
stand
hunt.
back to
I don't
back
remember
with
which
girls.
comedian it was. Did you see this, Connolly? One of the comedians who's a big animal guy. I don't know if it was Bill Burr, Chappelle, whatever. But he was talking about it on one of the talk shows, and he was like, "Yeah, I got out there," and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it." Because an hour later, I'm like, he's like acting like Dillon and Platoon, just firing at as many as possible. I don't want to watch an animal suffer.
well, I guess
Period.
the question is, if you guys come, are we glamping or are we?
Oh, there's no rules. I
Being
will
in the-
go
in
by
the-
what
are
you
we
say, but we
doing-
have to
I'm
film
into
it all.
camping.
That's the
I
only
would,
thing
I
I
would,
ask.
look,
We have to
I would
film
say
it
it'd probably be right somewhere right down the middle.
all. I will do what you guys do, but I want
You
content
can't
out
make
of
your
it.
own tent. You don't know how to put a tent.
No.
You don't know how to pitch
No,
a tent.
but Dillon
Have
will.
a tent.
I'll buy
couldn't
Dillon a
pitch a
watch and
tent.
he'll make the tent. I can't make
I
the
would
tent.
love to watch
Tent
you
and
with
a
the,
sleeping
with the
bag.
instructions.
No.
like, trying to
I'm
pitch a
like
tent, no
legitimately. I
chance.
couldn't even put the crib together. I mean, I'm. Look, it was always a failing of me, and that's why I say, my mother would put shit together, and she thought she had 3 sons who were idiots. That was not our skills. Now you can try your best. Some people aren't good at
Gardening?
that. Like you can try to get Dillon to play the piano, and maybe he will or maybe he won't. It's some people have certain skills. Some things you can learn. Some things you can't. I was never one of those put together shit persons. I'm just not.
Well, you can just dig dirt.
I will do the best I
You
can
can
to
dig
listen
dirt.
to my leader, my
healthy
team
for you.
leader.
Yeah, you can do the least skilled thing.
I will make fire with sticks.
Yeah.
Could you?
I've done it. I've done it.
I can't wait till
I
we
did
get out
fire
there.
plow.
I want to do a
sticks together.
whole
Boat
episode
drill.
on Dillon.
I bid
Yeah.
fire.
Out in the-
I mean, I would
ways.
just put my money on Dillon of
Yeah.
a bunch of us, right? To be able
Oh,
to
we'll
get
go,
a fire
I'll go
going.
naked and afraid right now, bro.
Well, by the way, there's a new
wanna see Naked
show.
and Afraid?
I forgot what the new
I
show
think I'd
is.
rather see
You
Doug's
look afraid
season.
already.
I'd rather see Doug's season, I think. Jesus.
Charlie Sheen was talking about this new show, I like Survival or something, where they literally leave someone out.
It's called Alone, right?
Alone.
Oh, that's
It's called
great.
Alone,
That's
yeah.
great.
By
And-
the way, this is not Naked and
That's
Afraid.
great.
It's like
Nothing compared to
kindergarten
that?
shit.
Well,
Alone.
well. I mean, they got. Clothes,
I know you like
they got
to
a
look
gun,
at
they got
naked
weapons.
dudes. That's fine.
They got
but
weapons.
So,
right?
but I
It's like,
said
it's
for
tough
the
going
new
out there
show
having to make your own fire.
When I said for
and
the
stuff.
new show, we get Celebrity Alone and put Dillon out there. It would be amazing to watch
Kev,
you
it's,
do that.
Kev,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
this
I'll,
this is next level from Naked and Afraid. I know Naked and Afraid. I love Naked and Afraid. This is next. This is
Love it.
the next level. Like they drop you.
Dylan's
on-
afraid
they're
of
like
Connolly
having
naked.
protein, they're eating bugs. It's insane.
Yeah.
Be the biggest. Well, it's-
No, I love that show because I'm kind of obsessed with survival
With
a little bit.
nudity?
I have a book. It's called Green Beret Survival Guide. It's like a really thick book.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to study up on it a lot. And I just the idea of surviving in a tough situation. My dad used to do it. He used to go out there in the winter with a poncho for a month and just live out there. And he had a shotgun. He would
See,
catch
the one
some,
thing,
fowl.
the one
and
thing that I
catch some
believe I
birds
am
and-
good at, I'm very self-aware. I would not survive. I have zero doubt I would be dead.
You ain't gonna make it, bro.
Yeah, I'm just not. I just it's not my thing.
like
So-
if you're Tom Hanks in Castaway, you're just.
Oh
Screwed.
no, Wilson and I are not
You and
hanging out.
Wilson,
No,
you're not talking-
no, I'm figuring out a way to drown myself before Wilson becomes my boy. I mean, it's I'm aware of it though, and it's not like I don't want to improve on it. But I'm 55 years old tomorrow. I'm not sure that's
not
going to
gonna
be the
teach
thing.
myself,
I get.
But what if?
nutrition.
What if
You have to you have to
happens.
live 50 more years. I mean, now's the time to start learning how to survive.
Yeah, I mean, what if it happened? Well, you had to do it.
Well, I think the difference is
I guess my
I'm
question
wildly
is,
prepared.
you're good at shooting.
pretty good, yeah. But I need a gun. I couldn't build a gun. Like sometimes I say that if they gave you 100,000 years and you knew the TV existed, like they threw you on an island, and they said, the TV exists. TV. Okay, well, that's an inside joke from Entourage. But could you build a TV? I gave you 100,000 years
No,
alone.
you need metalry.
Okay, but somebody had to find it. Somebody had to figure all that out. I mean, like I'm just saying, or anything. So, some people have to be self-aware because a lot of people like to go back in time and say what they would have done in any horrible situation, in the Holocaust, in slavery times. How would you have acted? How would you have been? And you hope you would be your best version of yourself. So I don't know if it happened. Maybe I'll rise to the occasion. Maybe I won't.
I think you would. I
You
think
gotta
you
see
would.
my survivalist
You would have to.
cabinet.
This is a good
got
point.
water,
Like
food.
we can prepare ourselves and practice for the moment.
Yeah.
We can develop the skills so that we can meet any moment at any time. And I think becoming the best version of our masculinity is meeting the moment when we have kids and showing up for them every single day better and better and better. So,
But you know what Mike Tyson says, and Connolly knows, like, you can prepare all you want.
So
but
you
when
get punched in the face.
Right. As soon as you get punched in the face, everything changes. And whether I trained in survival or not,
yeah, but
we
I would
don't know how
rather
it helped.
I would
What do you
rather
do
be
during the
prepared
fire?
when
What
I
does
get
he
hit
do in
in the
fire?
face than utterly
For
you know.
sure.
Like when my neighborhood caught on fire in Malibu, I could have ran or I could have stayed.
Yep.
And I stayed.
Yep.
I stayed. I fought the fire. I saved my house. I saved
I would have
ran.
ran. I would have been gone. I would have been gone.
Then I went, why did I save my house? Everyone's getting to build these brand new giant houses. I should have taken the money.
Yeah.
Let it burn.
I should have let it burn.
Dylan lit it up 3 weeks
neighbor was
after the fire. He's like,
the
this
neighbor's
happened
like,
3 weeks
why
ago.
did you save my house? Why did you do that? You should have let it burn.
hysterical. They're all mad at him. That's hysterical.
That's actually good. That would be good.
That's
So-
the problem with society right
So this is Earth Speed, show about masculinity, and anything else you'd like to throw into the mix. Also, we need a title for the show. I was thinking Entourage.
Lawn?
Yeah.
Like a lawn?
Yeah, we're sitting on the lawn, sitting in the
All right.
suburbs.
Interesting.
Let's put it on the short list.
Well, you asked me
put
what
it
it's
on the
about,
short
and I
list.
think right here is what masculinity and whatever, feminine. I don't care because I like to just
Femininity?
people. I know the word. Friendship and loyalty, and that to me are the core values that if you can instill in people, and really, again, you'll never know. You know, there's an interesting podcast I was listening to with Sebastian Younger, who just wrote this book about men in danger and how some men, they love war, not because they like killing each other, because they love the camaraderie of it. And we're living in a society now for men, for most part, there is no danger. So that's why people kind of go crazy. Men are, biologically dispositioned. They want to jump out of a plane, which is pretty fucking
They
stupid.
want to face fear and confront
Exactly.
the enemy or the danger to protect their family and their friends and their community.
And when you say, which I understand, toxic masculinity, it's not a good thing. I get it. But are we losing our way with strong men that we may need, just like you said, that we need to be prepared to survive if there are these people, these evil forces that are out there? And I think it is important to do both. So I think it is important to be sensitive and to be an emotional man, which is new to the universe to a lot of people. But I also think it's important to be strong, be protective of your family. And yes, it would be good if I could figure out how to survive in the wild, but that's not right now what I have to do.
I got your back,
I
bro.
have to
Don't worry.
survive in LA.
Fire.
I'll figure it out, dude.
I mean,
You got me.
From two sticks, I'm not going to tell you that I could do that. But
I'm not going to say that
Just
I
gather the berries. I'll do the hunting.
You were just saying that, it's good for a man to be the protector.
yeah.
And you're like, not me, though.
No, I don't say that at all. I'm just saying if you threw me out with my children out in the wild, okay, I'll have to come up with a plan. But I'm saying right now I live in urban Los Angeles, and I'm prepared to protect my family in the way.
He's got a trampoline built into his front lawn. Okay.
Right now,
Shit's pretty good.
Right now, I got 3 loaded weapons in my house and 2
And-
German shepherds, and I'm prepared to do whatever I have to do.
He doesn't have to water his
Are you
grass. It's
afraid
made
of
of
intruders?
plastic.
It's not that I'm afraid of intruders. I'm prepared for intruders.
You've had intruders.
I've had 7 people were shot next door to my house less than 5 weeks ago. 4 people dead, 3 people.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. And there was helicopters flying over and voices going, "Come out with your hands up!" Not to us, to whatever was happening. And I was prepared for anything that I would have to do to protect my fiance, my dogs, my cats.
Do you know how to clear a house?
Clear a house?
Yeah.
Like like a cop. You're talking to make sure I don't.
Yeah, just make sure you don't, no one's hiding.
I do know how to clear a house.
Oh, look at that.
My son has worked
a
with me on a
clear
little.
house.
He wouldn't be proud of my clearing the house things. My plan is to make sure I'm in my bedroom and to make sure that the door is closed and that I say if anyone opens that door, these guns are being fired. So obviously, got to get in that situation. I'm not trying to clear that.
Don't tell them your plan.
They
Don't reveal your strategy.
It's a healthy plan. So I'm not going to be clearing the house.
He's got 2
anytime
big
soon. I'm gonna get out
giant
of this.
German shepherds and 3 guns. I think you don't want to mess with Doug's house.
I mean, unless you have a
Go to
targeted
someone
reason to
else's
come
house.
after me, I'm the wrong house. And I have nothing in there that's of
You
any
don't wanna
value
come
besides my
after Connolly's
television.
house.
I had no, it's not a good.
Yeah, those French bulldogs will take everybody out.
Like a 300-pound mirror fell in the middle of the night, and it just really, in my heart, thought somebody kicked the front door in.
Yeah.
How did that fall? That's weird.
Probably not great.
Yeah.
What's
They didn't
the
have
word?
Dylan
Maybe
put it up.
Teach you how to screw something
Big
into
heavy
a
mirror
wall.
came down, and I was like, "What else could it be?" It sounded like the front door, and in that moment, I asked myself, what would happen, and it would have ended bad for whoever came up those stairs.
Do you remember when they were rioting here in L.A. and you had the old studio on Robertson? You showed up with a shotgun, like a pistol. Grip.
I had an ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I had an ex-girlfriend enter my house at 2:00 in the morning with my 2 German Shepherds because I literally, it's crazy how LA's changed. I didn't lock my doors till 4 or 5 years ago.
Room for the scissors.
So the fear has changed a little bit.
Guy showed up with an M16 and an Uzi to the office.
He did, man. He's fucking ready to go.
I was not
what?
gonna. No, I stood ground and defended
Someone
my.
walked into the office.
He's
with a
talking
gun?
about. He doesn't like that.
No, I was
the
joking
fact
around.
that
He's
he had
like, Connolly
showed
brought
up
a
with
shotgun into the office.
Pistol grip.
It was during
an
the
illegal
riots. I was defending my.
Yeah, that would go well.
sawed-off shotgun. It's probably illegal.
I will say that I was never going to shoot anybody. I would have at the office, at my house, yeah, but I wasn't going to shoot anybody at the office. No.
If they come in with a gun, what do you do?
I would have fired off one on the ceiling and then ran out the back door.
That was your plan.
That was my plan at the office.
Sounds great.
Good one through the sunroof. Let them know you're there.
Yeah.
Let them know you mean business. Right?
Kill someone cleaning the tiles on the roof.
How many slugs do you get in there? How many slugs do you get in there?
Connolly executed one of the roofers.
You could have taken 6 out. Maybe you get 2 with one shot.
Shot the drone photographer
If
on
you
the
go
roof.
buckshot, you get many of them.
Stock tip was on the roof doing some tar.
But I did have, we used to be next to a gas station, and the gas station was taped off, and these guys came running, and we had the two-way mirror, so it looked like they were running at us. I was like, oh my God. And then they peeled off to the gas station, and then all of a sudden you saw the caution tape just cruise into the street. I'm like, oh man. And they bum rushed the gas station. The only reason they didn't hit us is because of the two-way mirrored glass.
It's kind of scary over there.
I was
There's
like,
so many
flashing
homeless
light.
guys and
It's terrifying going into that office.
yeah.
What the new?
There's always
By the way,
you'd
it's
always have
not-
to go past the.
We
bunch
didn't
of
even really
homeless
tell
guys.
Adrian. There was an armed robbery in that parking lot. There's always someone sleeping on the floor there.
Yeah,
You know,
you'd
he's
have
great.
to
He's a
you have
great
to
guy.
step over his body.
It's-
to
Yeah,
get
but
to the-
he's.
By the way,
he patrols the.
It is
parking lot.
not that far off from
patrols
naked
the
and
parking lot.
afraid. I mean, you're going there with no protection whatsoever. I don't like.
Our guy is a protector. He's there to
Well,
protect you.
hopefully, I mean, you just don't know.
He's a good guy. I mean,
Again,
not a good guy.
No, but
He's a crazy person.
by the way, I'm not blaming them. They mental health issues, and you just don't know when someone's going to snap or what's going on, and it sucks for them, and it sucks for everybody else.
But we like our guy.
I like them too. I like all of them.
You don't talk to him. Have you ever asked him his name? Or
I don't care about him.
You mean the guy that shits on the front step? No, I never asked him
not
his
shit.
name. There was human shit there the other
He had a
day.
rough night. Take it easy. Jesus. Have a heart.
By the way, you guys all came.
Empathy, right? Empathy.
First of all,
great empathy.
First of all, you guys all came when I was the honoree at the Chrysalis Ball. I have done as much as I can for homeless, and I do care about every single one of them, and I do feel horrible about it.
Who's
At the
Moo Moo?
Moo was my daughter.
Oh, okay, she just called.
At the same time, it's a very sad situation. I don't have the solutions to it, but they need to be protected and helped, and we need to be protected and helped as well. That's it. Is that a fair statement? I'm very empathetic to them. I don't want to step in his shit. I don't think that makes me.
The Lord protects those who protect themselves.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. I got to go easy on these mics.
By the way, I think Grenier's podcast today is better than ours.
I know.
It's actually
Very
embarrassing.
deep.
It's fucking embarrassing. I mean, this is like we should release this on the Victory feed as well. And
We should. That'd be good.
I'm serious. Grow his and
Promotional thing.
whatever.
Well, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
welcome.
This was awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations. That's great news.